Hello everybody, welcome to Raise Mundane.
So currently I'm in Peru. I'm at a hostel. It is 3 a.m. around that time, and I can't really make a lot of noise, but I feel like the tone of my voice for this one is appropriate since the topic is, well, sadness. And sadness is one of those things that have always been frowned upon in society. And I understand why, because sadness, well, as the name is, it's sad. It's definitely not a pleasant thing to be going through. And another thing that isn't really pleasant to be going through is discipline. When somebody's just disciplining you, it's not a pleasant thing to be going through, especially since a lot of the time disciplining goes very hand in hand with sadness, or feeling shame, or et cetera, et cetera. But as much as I would like to get straight into why sadness, discipline, all those things, and the beauty in sadness, etc., I have to go first to the sadness within my own life. And I would love to be 100% exposed and vulnerable and share with you guys every single nitty-gritty detail of my sadness and my journey with sadness. But the reason that I won't, not that I'm not willing, is because of time purposes. But I will be trying to go into some specific things that caused a lot of sadness from within my life. Not all of the sadness came from these things, but specifically, just to get the point across, to let you guys know that I did go through this. One of them is that I used to write to my ex daily when I was on pursuit. And every single day that I would write to her, it was painful. And people ask why. Why is it painful? You know, you're just writing you're writing to someone that you love. Well, it's painful because, first of all, she's in another relationship, and I'm here hoping and wishing that my ex will come back. Secondly, every single time I wrote to her, it was like I was reopening the wound. And if you guys don't know about wounds, they need time to heal. You can't just be scratching your wound every 5 seconds, because if you do, it's gonna get infected. It's not gonna really heal properly. It's gonna leave a scab, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just constantly scratching the scabs away. Anytime it was healing, boom, I would reopen it again, because I had this hope that one day she would return to me. And my whole plan was, if she came back to me, she would see all the piles and piles of literature that I had written for her, and she would know that I loved her even when she was away. Even in silence, my love was very much outspoken, I guess. And yeah, it was very painful, and it caused me a lot of sadness. And I would spend many days and weeks paralyzed in bed. That was one of the repercussions, I guess, of sadness. And while I was paralyzed in my bed, I would just sit there. You know, a lot of other people would, well, drink some alcohol to escape the pain, or, you know, cause some other type of distractions. But a lot of the time I was just sulking in my sadness. I was thinking about the situation. I was thinking, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? How can I get better? And I was doing everything that I possibly could, in my opinion, to get better. I was diving deep into scripture. I was trying to work on myself daily. And then also I was helping other people. I was, showing them love. I was trying to follow scripture. One of the things, treating others the way you want to be treated. I was getting really close to God, and I was thinking, why am I still feeling this sadness? Like, God, why am I still feeling this sadness? I feel like I'm doing everything right. Do you guys ever feel that? It's like you're doing everything right, but you still feel that sadness, or you still feel that repercussion. And I started to wonder, why am I feeling this? I feel like I'm the best that I've been in my entire life. Right now, why am I feeling this? Why did I not feel sadness when I was disrespecting her and doing all these terrible things? Why was I just in I was just in this ignorant state, and I didn't feel that sadness? Why now? Why am I feeling this? And I was going on, and I was questioning. And this process, I'm sure, lasted years. But one day, some verse hit me on the top of the head, and it was this verse. No discipline seems pleasant at all at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Hebrews 21:11, trained by discipline. Trained by discipline. All I knew is that a father disciplines the child he loves. And I was a child of God, and I felt as if I was asking God to help me change. And I felt as if God used sadness as a tool to get me to face my reality. I was feeling sad, but I was facing my problems. I was facing them straight on. I had produced this sadness on my own. I don't feel as if God was the one to put this sadness upon me. I put this upon myself by my free will, by my choices, which were contrary to his word, the way that I treated my ex, the way that I was towards her. So I don't feel as if that sadness was coming from God. The sadness was there because of repercussions. But the reason I believe that God allowed it to linger longer in my life was to refine me. Felt like I was like a gold bar, and I was just all molded into all these different places, and I wasn't even that pure gold. And he was putting me into the furnace. And the furnace is not an enjoyable thing, I'm sure. And it's just molding me into something that's actually going to be helpful, and is something that is actually going to be precious, molded well, useful. And I just needed to be in there for a longer amount of time than perhaps somebody else in this life. But I needed to be in there to grow. And every time you're in trials and tribulations and you're going through hard times, I don't know if you realize this, but when you overcome each of those trials and tribulations, you achieve things and you grow. And when I was in that sadness, as painful as it was at the time, in retrospect, it was a beautiful moment. I felt as if God's hands were upon me, and I was this clay, and he was molding me. And in trials and tribulations, and in moments of vulnerability and sadness and tears and all that stuff, I was able to find beauty. It just took time for me to see that sadness created beauty. One of the things that sadness also has brought me is the ability to communicate with different people from all walks of life. Knowing that there's so many people out there going through sadness, it's just a topic that not many people really talk about, but a lot of people live. And because I had gone through sadness, and because I had talked to a lot of people who had gone through different aspects of sadness, I was able to talk to them about it. So, but people sometimes don't want to listen to someone who's never even gone through what they're going through. It's like, how can you talk to someone that has gone through suicide, that hasn't experienced suicidal thoughts, and you're having a dialogue with someone who is very suicidal at that time? The fact that sadness even brought me suicidal thoughts was a blessing, because now I'm able to actually talk to someone about suicidal thoughts. And since I was able to overcome it, they can take my words and it actually means something to them, because I know what they're going through. I know what it is to think of suicidal thoughts. I thought about my death many times since I've been gone. Title of my song, I've been there. Oh, I've been there. Thinking of Lambo doors, like suicidal doors. I've been there. And I would have never been there, and I would have never been able to have these conversations with people if I would have never actually been in that mentality, and if sadness was never really apparent. So that's one of the things that I felt like, sadness created something beautiful from, and discipline as well. It's that I felt as if when I was learning through this discipline, because it just felt like divine discipline. I felt like the DDs, it was divine discipline, because it was something that was just so horrible at the time, it seemed like. But then over time, when time passed, it was one of the most beautiful times of my life. Even when I was not getting what I wanted, even when I was writing to her daily and not getting any type of reciprocation of love, even when I felt alone, even when I was sad, even when I was crying daily, even when I would watch any movie and it would just trigger tears. Even when I watched The Notebook and I legitimately cried for like 3 I don't even know how long I cried. I've watched that movie like 8, 9 times, and I've cried almost every time while I was watching it. Then I would write all these sensitive notes of how much I miss my ex and all blah blah, all that sadness, and and I would literally physically punch myself in the parking lot of Santa Monica Community College before my classes because I was feeling pain and I just didn't know what to do because I was feeling so much frustration, you know. Hopefully one day I'll be able to narrow down and share with you guys that entire story, because it's a sad one, but it's a beautiful one. It's a very, very beautiful one. And hopefully you guys have a beautiful story like that as well. And if you don't and you're in that sadness, trust me, do not run away from it. Those moments of sadness are temporary problems. Do not kill yourself, which is like an eternal, it's trying to solve a temporary problem with something eternal, something that you can't take back. And I just pray that none of you guys ever feel like your problems and your sadness are just such a overwhelming burden that it's just going to dig you so deep into the ground that you'll never be able to resurface. Because trust me, I was down deep, fossil deep. I was down deep, earth core deep in my sadness. And I was able not only to overcome it, but to be proud of the hole that I climbed, and to be proud of how far I had fallen from the beginning. To be able to be proud of sadness was such a great and beautiful thing in my life. I don't want to make this video too long. Hopefully you guys are having a beautiful day, and hopefully you guys are having a beautiful night. And I wish you the best today. So I never thought that I was going to record this song the way that I'm recording it now. One of the reasons is I felt like I was never going to really do the song justice. It's one of my favorite songs that I ever wrote. I play it only ever to my mother. She asked for it over and over and over again, even if she doesn't like my music, and that's why the song means a lot to me, or one of the reasons it does is it's one of the ones that my mom really likes, and I wrote it at a pinnacle realization of life where I believed that I saw that there is beauty in sadness, and it was just a big, awe-shocking realization because I had lived in sadness for so long. And it's a song that means so much to me, and I've only ever wanted to do it live, but I thought as if this Raz Mundane thing that we're doing, this family, family, I've realized over time, is something that you invest into. You give time, you give love, you give things that at times you don't really feel like giving, but you know it's right. And a piece of myself is always in my music, and this song is very dear and true to me. So whoever is watching this first, you will be one of the first. And I feel as if the same way that my mom was one of the first, you all will be one of the first as well. And that hopefully shows you what this community, what Raz, what he's done in my life, and what the rest of you have witnessed upon side me in these past couple episodes that I've been fortunate enough to record for you all today. You will be able to see a piece of my love for this community, for this family, and what we're trying to grow and what we're trying to do in this world. So without further ado, this song is called The Beauty in Sadness. And this time it's not dedicated to my ex, it's not dedicated to my mom, it's dedicated to all of you. I just watched a movie and cried. Sadness has been inside my life. I hide it from my friends all the time. I ask God why I still feel it inside. Maybe sadness is discipline, 'cause discipline is love in disguise. Maybe sadness is discipline, 'cause discipline is love in disguise. 'Cause ever since I lost her, I've been feeling sorrowful, and tears been falling from my eyes all the time. And every time I think about the times